Hey everybody, this is episode 5 of the Hashcast, and tonight I have a very cool guest with me. He was my PAX buddy last week, and we spent a lot of time together. We even shared a hotel room together to experience PAX the best way, and that is just being there as special guests, because we are very special guests. Even at PAX, can you imagine? So my friend here, John, how are you doing, buddy?
I just want to point out that the real PAX experience is sleeping in the same bed with another man. That is the real. That is the truest. That is the truest PAX experience.
I think we went the truest by having 6 people in a hotel room with 2 beds and then a cot. Thank God.
I would say that is peak PAX.
Peak
PAX. I just want to point out. Let's not forget that the cot was actually delivered by what I believe was a police officer.
Yes.
Which I thought was, and that makes me sad too, because last night on SDGC we actually didn't talk about the hotel at all.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I completely forgot.
So our hotel was so awesome that even the safety certificate in the elevator expired like months ago.
It's in January, and I got there before. I was there before everybody else. And I get in the elevator. The first thing I noticed when I got to the hotel was like, one, this thing is further away from the venue than I thought. Excuse me, beer. And then the second thing I realized was this hotel was like the fucking Bates Motel. Like, this is terrible. And I got into the elevator and I hit the button and nothing happened, right? And I was like, what the hell? And I hit it again. Then all of a sudden the thing slammed shut, like somebody just kicked a door in. And I was like, whoa! And it jerked up, and I was like, this. And that's when I knew that this was going to be a really interesting experience for everybody involved. So
it was surely a fascinating experience. But
yeah,
that didn't stop us from having a pretty good PAX experience. So I know you talked about this on your own show yesterday, John. So if you want to learn more about all the games that were there, like, I did not play a lot of games at all because we were very, very busy just running the show, and I did a lot of panels. But just to get that away, like, I know you played one game, John. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I played Code Vein, and Code Vein. Imagine Dark Souls, and this is of course I played a Dark Souls game, right? Because it's me. Yeah. Imagine Dark Souls with an anime aesthetic. Like, you're basically playing as a vampire that is trying to you're trying to prevent yourself from becoming one of the enemies in the game. That's basically that's as much of the story as I know. Yeah. I played about 15 minutes of the game. It's tough. It is a tough game. There was a boss called the Queen's Knight in the demo. I could not clear the boss, but I will say that the game runs a little choppy right now, so there's clearly more work that needs to be done. But visually, it's very clean. It's a beautifully designed game. Very crisp. The texture work is really good. The combat is, classic Souls-like, but honestly more akin to Bloodborne due to the heavy emphasis on offense, I think, than I would say like something like a Dark Souls 3 or 1 or 2. So I think, Bloodborne would be a more apropos comparison. I played for about 15 minutes and I came away really, really excited. And yes, it does wear its influence. It wears that Souls influence on its sleeve. But I got the sense, and again, just after 15 minutes, that it's more of taking the formula and making it its own, as opposed to just being completely derivative, which I thought was pretty good. So I think there's more questions that need to be asked about the game, but I came away with a pretty positive impression of it.
That's pretty good. So I didn't play it at all. I did see the posters. I played one game, and that was a mobile game. And I'm a huge shill for Katsu Games, which is a little independent studio, and they make mobile games. But I loved one of their previous games, so I went to check them out to complain about the previous game, Sausage Bomber, because one of their levels was broken. So they promised me they were going to fix it. And then I played their new game, Doomwheel, for like 5 minutes. But there's a lot to play. But I did not have a media badge. You did not have a media badge, John, I think, this year.
No, I had the special guest badge like you.
Yeah, so we did not get to make appointments, skip the line. So in order to stand in line there, that was just a waste of time, I think. So we'll probably get our hands on those games eventually. But we did something else, John. You and I, and some other people, we did a cool panel.
We did do a cool panel. I was on the Dark Souls panel with you, and Susan Arndt and Sarah LaBeouf and Marty Sleva from IGN. He was running 10 minutes late, but he dodge rolled his way in.
Yeah.
That was a great panel, man.
That was good. It was my first panel. I know you had some previous experience, but we packed the house, man. That was a full
We did.
room.
The room was full. I think there was like upwards of 250 people in there.
Yeah, something like that.
300.
I tried to count, but it's too hard math.
Yeah, I don't know what the place, there was not a seat left. Like the place was packed. And what I thought was really cool was we had so many people stacking for questions that I got to the point we were outside and I looked at my phone and I looked at you. I was like, hey, we got to roll. and I looked and I was like, okay, we got to go. And then we're just walking off. I'm like, I just had to get out.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody who was asking questions, but we got to go.
We were absolute superstars. That is just, there's no doubt about it. It was my first panel and I was a little nervous in the beginning because I had no idea what to expect. So when we walked up to the theater, first of all, I see like our panel name on like a big banner. I was like, "Wow, that is so cool!"
It's really like disconcerting the first time you see it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, "Wow, that's something we talked about once, and now it's in print." And then I saw the line. I was like, "They're lining up for this." I'm like, these people are crazy. I thought there was going to be like 12 people there, but there were not. There were like 250 people.
No, dude, Dark Souls pulls in the crowds, man. I think what's really cool is that, it sounds like you had the same experience I did last year where like I was initially very nervous, but once you realize that we're basically just a couple of nerds talking to a bunch of other nerds about video games, just like we are now, I mean, all that goes away. We all love the same thing. And, everybody just wants to talk about games. Yeah. And once you realize that, then all the nervousness just kind of melts away. I mean, you just got to tell yourself like I do that, hey, I'm with my people right now and there's nothing to be nervous about.
Yeah. And what I liked was there was one Twitter comment from someone I knew, now too, Javier, and he mentioned like it's so nice to see a panel where people know each other really well, so they give each other speaking space and they're actually listening and reacting to each other. Because I went to several panels and you do notice it a little bit when there's just industry people at the same space at the same time, that it's kind of a free for all. So I'm glad that people picked up on it, that we kind of had a thing going on in the back, and that this has been discussed before. So I'm really glad people liked it, man, because I honestly did not know what to expect.
Yeah, no, I thought the flow of the conversation was really good. We, like you said, I think we were all very mindful of not cutting each other off, and including Marty, who I don't really know that well. But I thought he did really good. Nobody really talked over anybody else. And then fielding the questions at the end, because Susan and Sarah had to leave, so it was you, me, and Marty up there. And I think we did a pretty good job, kind of like dividing the questions up among us. I was at the podium. I was like, Marty, what do you think? Okay, let me take this one. Wow, how about you? And I felt like that worked out really well.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments of the whole panel actually came out of the Q&A. I think I told you this, but if you haven't seen the panel, it is on YouTube. You can check this out. But it could have been perceived as us dunking on Dark Souls fans a lot, which was not the case. But we had some technical issues, so we kind of skimmed over one aspect of the Dark Souls community, and that is like camaraderie and how there's always someone to help out. But we didn't touch on that in the initial talk. So when this one dude came up, he was like, you could feel he was slightly agitated that we missed that we dropped the ball on that one, and I'm glad we got to address it in the Q&A. And then after the question was answered, he felt like relieved. And then the next day I was drawing in the AFK room and I saw him there, and he was like, great panel, man, it was super good. I was like, I love that flipped. Like, he was initially a little bit like, anti-Dark Souls fans, they don't know what to talk about. So that gave me a really good feeling on the ending of the panel and like the total experience. So for me, it was a great first experience to do a panel like that. Yeah. But you were the Dark Souls expert. I mean, I'm not sure if.
I don't know if I'm the Dark Souls.
Did anyone give it yet your praise the sun emote, or if nobody
did. But some, you know what? I should actually have somebody gift that, because I've been waiting so long to praise the sun, like, to a large group of people who actually know what I'm talking about, who actually know what that means. And I was like, so I could work this in the beginning, I could try to do it in the middle and near the end, and I was like, no, I just want to get this out of the way and see what the reaction was. And people loved it, so people seem to really like it. And of course, like, I showed a friend of mine when I got home, and he was like, I have no fucking idea what that means. So I was like, oh, well, I'm praising the sun. But yeah, no, it was such a real. I hope that I get the chance to be on another panel next year. I just want to go back. But even if I'm not on a panel next year, I'm still going to go back to PAX, because it's just a cool experience.
Yeah, it's funny how you get the taste for it. I'm like, now, oh man, I got like 5 ideas for 5 more panels.
I know. Yeah,
because once you're there, it's easy, it's fun, and to entertain the crowd, like that definitely. Us podcasters, you and I, professionals, we're kind of used to trying to be entertaining, but to get that direct feedback for me was just a super cool experience. But we can't let it get to our heads, even though we can't.
I mean, I would say we had one of the best panels of the show, but that's not.
I would too. I
don't think that's not letting it get to our heads.
No.
That's just speaking the Lord's truth. I mean, we're spreading the word.
I mean, we were utterly fantastic. Like, let's be honest here. But
and really good looking too. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, Lord, look at these handsome faces right here.
I mean, this is unbelievable. Like, I'm looking at myself, and I'm just like, wow. In the little window in the corner, I'm like, wow,
how unbelievable.
But sculpted image.
But outside of our panel, which was obviously the best in the world, I saw, I think, about 10 other panels in the 4 days we were there. How about you?
So you saw a lot more panels than I did.
Yeah.
I saw the panel with Jeff Grubb and Kyle and Anthony, and who else was on that panel? I think it was just the 4 of them, actually.
Yes.
No, and Gene Park. Gene Park was there too.
Gene.
The Mario panel, the core Mario panel, which I thought that was a really cool panel. I'm a huge Mario fan, so that was the one I wanted to go see.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd gone to see more. But I was so busy just kind of, I don't know, like walking around and taking it all in. Like, I didn't play much on the show floor, but I just walked around and looked, right? Like sometimes it's just as good to just look and watch something be played.
Yeah.
And I did see a lot of cool games down there. Yeah, I thought their Mario panel was great. It was a really cool idea, and I would love to see something next year about, like, what makes a core Zelda game. I feel like that would be the natural evolution of that, or even like what makes a core Final Fantasy game, or something like that. I think it's a really cool concept that can be expanded upon for any number of franchises.
Yeah, I think it's funny that several panels that I've seen started as like Twitter shitposting conversations. And like that's how our panel started, and I know how the core Mario game panel started, but it's just a random tweet, and then everybody dunked on it, and then they started a survey, and then it became a panel, and that's what I love about PAX. Like, and it draws people. There's like 150 people coming to listen to a conversation like that. So that was just pretty cool. I didn't see the ending of the core Mario one because I like.
Oh, yeah, it did about. That's right.
Yeah, I actually another one.
I asked a question, actually, and it was an easy one. It was an easy one for them to answer. Of course, like, I'm friends with all these guys, so I thought I was going to get them, and I said, okay. I said we're talking about core Mario games. I said Donkey Kong Jr. is the only game starring Mario as the antagonist, right? You don't play as Mario. He's the villain. He's trying to roll barrels at Donkey Kong Jr. and he's kidnapped Donkey Kong. But it's got Mario. It's got platforming. Yeah. Is this a core Mario game? Yeah. And I thought I had him, but they were like, nope, sorry. And I was like, oh, okay. I disagree. I feel that is a core Mario game, but I digress.
Yeah, I think the rule was that it had to have Mario in the title. That was I don't know what they landed on with their rules, but that's fun. Like I've seen a couple of like fun panels. When you were asking questions, I went to the Race to the Bottom panel, which was a panel was moderated by Alana Pierce. Had Rami Ismail, Dave Autry from New Blood, Kristen Bean from Rooster Teeth, Richard James, a filmmaker, and someone else. I forget the name. I think he worked on for Rooster Teeth as well, but I'm not 100% sure. And that was about how pricing works in video games. Like, what do you price your game? And that was just a super interesting conversation because I love that kind of stuff. To just hear developers talk about like their strategies on and how they feel about Steam sales and humble bundles and all that stuff. And that's really, for me, that kind of stuff is worth it. But what other panels did you see that kind of left an impression, if you had some?
So I really liked the panel about how to network properly.
Oh, yes.
That was, and of course, obviously, the whole crux of me going to PAX this year was to network. Like, I was not there to play the games. I was there to network. And I feel like we did that pretty well.
Yeah.
But it was very fortuitous that was one of the first things at PAX that I experienced.
Yeah.
Right. Because I got to see the networking panel really before I did any networking.
Yeah.
And that was good. I needed it because I learned, you know, like when you see a lot of these people that you have followed and respected for a very long time, you want to be forward and you're like, okay, I've got to meet this person. I've got to introduce myself. I've got to make a good impression. But you can't forget that they are people just like you are. They're regular people. This is the video games industry, not Hollywood.
Yeah.
And, you know, they put their jeans on just the same way I do. Their blood is as red as mine. And for a lot of these people, maybe not all of them, but I'd say for 95% of the people I met, they don't want to be treated like they're celebrities. They want to be treated like they're people.
Yeah.
So what I did was I just, you know, I would, you know, if I met somebody that I was a huge fan of, like, you know, been following for a long time, following their career for a long time, I would just say, hey, I'm John. I got a small podcast, yada, yada, yada. It's great to meet you. I really admire your work. Good job. Keep it up.
Yeah.
You know, and then you find a natural way to kind of insert yourself into the conversation. And if it doesn't feel natural, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want anybody to, you don't want to come off as clingy or strange or fanboying out or anything like that. But I thought the networking panel, who was on that? It was, I believe it was Dr. B was on that. Tanya was on that. She does I Need Diverse Games. Susan was on that, right?
Yeah,
was Susan on
Susan
that?
moderating it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Susan was the moderator. Okay. And somebody else was on there.
Jackie Collins.
Jackie Collins and Stephanie Tinsley.
Yeah, and Brittany Brombacher.
And Brittany Brombacher. That was a big-ass panel.
That was a very big panel, yeah.
That was a big panel, yeah. But it was great. I learned a lot. It was exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really helped set the tone for me as I kind of did my networking thing throughout the weekend.
Yeah, because we networked a lot, John. Just in case, like my two listeners don't really know why you were networking. Like
5 listeners, wow, five listeners. Come on, give yourself credit.
Hi, Mom. Yeah, so we've known each other for a while, but we never met before in person either, right? So when we went to PAX, we were like, okay, we're gonna meet all the people now because I'm lucky that I have known some more people. But even for me, the whole networking tips and tricks are always useful. Always useful.
Yep.
I was trying to make a list of how many people I saw at PAX, and it's insane. Like I always say, like the game industry is like 200 people, and everybody knows each other. And then you have like a whole cloud of people, of course, around it that are trying to get into. But like the people that everybody knows is a relatively small group, and I think half of them were at PAX.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of them were. And what was really interesting was finding myself, and this is where I felt incredibly blessed and incredibly lucky. You know, like I have been trying, and you know, look, I've got a career elsewhere. I make a good salary. I'm not trying to be like a journalist at IGN or anywhere like that. Although I am working on officially on my second Polygon article as of today, which is cool. But this is a hobby that I love, and I've been trying to insert myself into the industry for some time. And you know, when you find yourself there, and I would say, like, you know, you're there, right? Like, you know, you're there. And I feel like I'm getting there.
Yeah.
And finding myself in situations where I am talking with these people and just talking, not even about games, just talking about random bullshit.
Yeah.
Is at once incredibly humbling, but also incredibly cool. And it's just not ever a situation that I kind of imagined I'd find myself in.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just surreal, and it still hasn't really sunk in for me. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Oh no, it makes all the sense. One of my favorite conversations that I was just listening to was when you met Steven from StackUp.org, because you're both vets, and like the conversation was like 2 minutes of games and then like 18 minutes of just like shooting the shit.
But talking about bullshit.
Yeah, but that's a connection made for life.
Well, I mean, Tom from Game Ranks. And, you know, we talked about games for probably 5 minutes, and then we just talked about random bullshit for. I mean, God, I talked to Tom every night. You know, he showed up at Westin every night. And when I met Jake Baldino, we didn't talk about games at all. We talked about other shit. Yeah. We talked about other shit. Yeah. I didn't even really talk about games with Brittany or Andrea or anybody. You know, like we just talked. You know, everybody just talked, and it made it feel. Honestly, in a way, I'm glad, because it made every conversation feel more natural, as opposed to, what games do you like? Well, these are the games I like, and this is what we're supposed to talk about because this is the games industry. Yeah. It made everything flow very naturally, and I was very, very thankful for that.
Yeah, and I think that's important because you got to have that bigger common ground, and just we all play games because of course you play games because everybody's.
That's why we're here.
For the same reason, exactly. Yeah, and that's why those. It's not really even networking. It's really making friends, because I consider a lot of these people actual friends by now, like 3 years in there, and it felt that way. But even I've known these people for 3 years, and I still feel like I don't always belong, and it's super weird. So I really appreciated a panel which was exactly on that. It was like it was called "We're All Frauds" and how to struggle with self-doubt.
I should have gone to that, and I'm kicking myself for not.
I think there's an audio file for it. If I find it, I'll link it here, but I'm not sure if it's up and ready yet, because that is something that I have a lot of trouble with. Like if you know my story, I'm still relatively new. But I always feel like I owe a lot to my more talented friends, like people I've known and who have given me a break. Because I was just a dude in Twitch chat that said, I want to go to E3. And then I did a whole thing, and then I went to E3, and it's still amazing. And then I met great people. But I always feel like, I just owe this because a Reed Elbers said, I'll hook you up with a media badge. Or an Andrea Renee that said, like, I'll retweet you that one time. But this year, like, PAX was just, like, mind-blowing, because we did our panel, and then I ended up, for some reason, on the What's Good Live podcast.
That was so dope.
Yeah.
That was so dope. I'm so proud of you, man.
Yeah, well, I was like, okay, this is cool. But I walked in and she was like, hey, you want to be on the panel? I was like, yeah, of course I want to be on the panel. But then after that, I go to the self-doubt panel, and they're like, and someone asked a question like, how do you deal with your success on how much effort you put in yourself and how much other people have put in you? And I was like, yes, that's exactly how I feel all the time. But then Dr. B, who is a lovely genius,
he's a wonderful person.
He was like, do you trust the judgment of your friends? And you're like, they lift you up because they think you either deserve it or just because you're their friend. And I was like, okay, I guess I can deal with that. But still, it feels super weird to be there with all these triple A-listers.
It's one thing to be told that you deserve it, right? And then another thing to feel that you deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just very strange. Like, if you are listening to this, Mom,
I did it, Mom. I did it.
Yay,
made it.
But anyone else, like, if you're trying to get in, like, that first foot is super hard, and I think there is definitely some luck involved in that.
There absolutely is. I mean, we had Susan on our podcast, like back in 2016. Yeah. And she liked what she saw, and she gave me a chance on a panel, and that's literally how it started for us. And then people started finding out who we were, and finding out who I was, and eventually I started making friends. And it's just it was one of those, literally just those perfect storms, that everything just started happening. And one thing that really struck home with me was, just realizing that you know, at PAX, there are thousands, I mean, literally thousands of small time YouTubers like me who are, content creators who are wanting to be on the inside and hoping to be on the inside and trying to get that foot in the door. And I'm having dinner with these people and nobody else is, and it is just incredible to think of yourself as, okay, I'm almost in orbit now. Like I'm almost in the orbit, and it is really, wow. Like even just talking about it, it doesn't like, it's almost like it's something that's happening to somebody else, not to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel this. I don't know if you felt the same way.
I feel the same way all the time.
All the time.
Because it's fun. Like, and I'm like you, John. Like, I do not do this to make a living out of it, because like I just have a day job, and this is like a super cool hobby for me, and I get enough out of it to make it worth it. Because even if it's a hobby, a lot of time and effort goes into this. Like if whether it's like creating content on Twitter or doing a podcast, like we're shooting the shit here on podcast, and there's like 3 or 4 hours of editing that goes in that as well, and just like it's work, but I enjoy it. I love it. But I don't have that pressure of, oh shit, I gotta make a paycheck. But for me to be accepted into this relatively small, tight-knit world, and there's just so many cool people. There's just so many cool people.
I mean, like I met, Nick Chester's a cool dude, from Epic Games. We met him. We met a bunch of cool content creators. Jake Baldino was awesome. Tom is awesome. Bob Workman was a nice guy. He bought me a drink. I bought him a drink. And, Marty was cool. And by the way, I got to tell you, you were clearly the best bartender that last night in the Westin Lobby. I mean, you were making people happy in ways that those bartenders just couldn't handle.
I think I have to tell the story. I'll just be able to.
I think you do. Like I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but this is a story that needs to be told.
Okay. So I brought a bottle of Canadian Wayne Gretzky whiskey to PAX. And the idea was always, we're going to find a way to share this with friends, because we have friends we would like to share whiskey with. But we were very far from the Westin Hotel, so and you can't bring a bottle of whiskey into PAX. So I had to drop it off. So I dropped it off at Andrea's Hotel, and we still did not have the opportunity to drink it until the last night. I think it was Saturday night, because you were still there.
Yes.
So I went to get it. I was like, okay. And the reason why I went to get it was I wanted to buy a drink at the bar, and they were like, do you have ID? I was like, of course I have ID. I'm like 40,000 years old. Like, I don't know why you're asking this.
I'm a mummy, man.
Yeah, so I gave her my Canadian driver's license and my credit card, and she was like, yeah, no, if it's not American, it has to be a passport. So I was like,
I
do you
remember
think
that.
I'm going to bring my passport to the bar? No. Don't you want? I was getting all sassy with her. And then she was like, well, you're out of luck. You're not getting a drink. Then I got a text saying, hey, you want to come pick up your bottle? I was like, yeah, absolutely, I want to pick up my bottle. Turns out I have my passport on me all along, so I was just being sassy for no good reason.
Of course, yeah.
So I went to get the bottle, and then I had an obvious grudge with the bar staff there, who were notoriously bad.
Oh, they were terrible. Like real quick, are they always that bad?
I don't know, man. Is it just Boston, or is it the Westin? Like, every service we had in Westin was terrible.
I waited at the bar for 15 minutes before I said, to hell with this. Went back to my table, ordered a drink, and got it in minutes. It was so bad.
It was terrible.
Anyway, please continue.
So I did not feel bad that I had a bottle of whiskey in my bag. So I gave you a drink. I gave Javier, our good friend, a drink. And then I just started doing the rounds. So
you gave some to Nick Chester. Nick Chester was like, yo, what's
yeah.
up? That leathery bouquet, man. So good.
It all started with Dave Osher. And if you don't know who Dave Osher is, Google him, because he runs New Blood. I think we got Finn dropping in here if he gets his shit together.
Yep.
All right, there we go. We're just
right on time.
Right on time. About
yeah, you're only 45 minutes late.
No. It's I got nothing, man. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so I've met Dave at E3 once, and we shared some whiskey before. So I was like, Dave, I know you're a whiskey guy. You want some of this Canadian whiskey? So we had to make like a little wall of people so the bar staff wouldn't see us pouring drinks on our own. And he took the first one, and he went to see all his friends. He was like, Wout's got a bottle of whiskey. It's really good. You go see him. So we shared that bottle was gone in 20 minutes.
Oh, it was, yeah. It didn't take long, man.
No.
Yeah.
But it did give us lots of conversations.
Yes, because that was because we were pretending to have conversations to sneakily pour a drink. But my popularity spiked that night when I was pouring whiskey for everybody. So that was good. So if you if you had some of my Wayne Gretzky whiskey, let me know if that was good for you or not.
You became a legend that night.
Legendary.
You were. I would say that in the eyes of many PAX goers that night, you became less than a god, but more than a man.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that would be probably the best way I could possibly describe it.
The only thing I would add to that is you probably honored Wayne Gretzky's own legacy by stepping up and doing that.
Obviously, I think
absolutely.
I think Wayne, I get to call him Wayne, is gonna send me an email anytime soon to thank me for my services. No doubt about it. But Finn, I'm gonna give you a quick opportunity to introduce yourself, even though you're just dropping in. Because Finn, my friend, he was also a part of our PAX crew. I don't think you have your camera on, so I'm not gonna focus on you there, Finn. But
I'm right.
Give us
right
there he is. Are you in your car? Oh my goodness! All right, give us a quick intro on your PAX experience.
It was an absolute blast. Like John probably mentioned, this was our second year, and just even just being around you and how much fun you had, it elevated PAX for me to another level. It wasn't even about the games I played. This PAX was all about the experiences I had and shared with you guys. And I don't know if I've ever shared a bed with a more gracious guest. It was good stuff.
At least
this
tallest.
PAX was. Oh yeah. Also, you are tall. I don't know if people understand this, but Wout is a man among men.
I am a gentle giant.
Even if I wasn't physically looking up to you, you're the kind of guy that you just want to look up to anyway.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
But no, this PAX was wonderful. Going to the panels that you guys were both on, especially the Dark Souls panel, was a delight. Everything that we got to experience, every night that we spent in the Westin Lobby, it was just experience after experience that made the whole time great.
Yeah. So the Westin Lobby is kind of the hub that people end up in at night after everybody had a long day. My favorite night was day 0, I think, there, John.
Yeah, I think so too. Just having dinner with everybody, and then you showed up, and just going around making those initial introductions, just for kind of forging those intricate connections, was just really, really cool. And plus you got that rush of excitement, PAX is starting, here it is, here we go. That was just that was really cool.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed the 3 hours of sleep I got afterwards, because we went to bed at 3 a.m.
Oh my god, yeah, and then I woke up nice and hungover, so that part wasn't so good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you real quick, wow, I just happened to glance down at my phone. We got some breaking game news that just happened.
Oh my goodness, what's the game news?
Just want to point it, coming to PS4, Xbox, and PC, Shenmue 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, I just saw it drop by. I know a certain Michael Huber from Easy Allies that is probably
going to be very excited about that.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I've never played a Shenmue game in my life, so I'm kind of lukewarm on this. But I know how happy it makes people. So.
Oh yeah, no, I love Shenmue, so I'm definitely picking that up. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail, but I did see that, and I was like, oh shit! It's one of those things, oh my god, whoa.
Hey man, we're here to talk games every now and then. But yeah, so I had in general a very, very good PAX. A thing you guys missed was on Sunday morning I got to be on PAX Mania. And I
saw a picture of that, man.
I had a super, I was basically a stage prop. But what's funny, because Andrea is the bank on PAX Mania, with Johnny Cashin over there, the rich folk. And Brittany Brombacher joined as well as Britcoin. And I was their security guard, but because nothing is planned when it comes to PAX Mania, so I didn't have a full outfit. So the story was that I was a startup, a local startup security unit. So I was all I had to do was walk up there and stand behind the players while they were playing Rumble, I think. So, but when the skit is done, we leave the stage, and one of the guys from Run GFB or whatever their group is, he's like, and I hear him talk to his friend like, I think this guy is lost. He thought I was just a rando from the audience and gone to stage, which clear was not the case. But the hilarious part was I have no idea who that dude was who said it, and he was like part of the show. So that was kind of ironic. Like he thought I was lost, and I had no idea what it was. But it's fun because I'm technically in the lore, I guess.
I think I next year I really want to do. I'll probably stick around for PAX Mania simply because I feel like Mr. Megadeth is a wrestling name.
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic wrestling name, right? Like I could come out with an intro, and that would be that'd be really good.
Yeah.
It's a
what
show,
about
man.
Your tag team partner, Torpedo Vegas.
There you go.
Torpedo Vegas would be great.
Yeah.
Great, actually. Think more of a manager. I think
that's fair.
You could be the hype man. You could actually. That would be really good.
Finn would be a great hype man.
Finn would be a great. Yep, he would. And just like Mankind in the WWE, I could put a sock in my hand and just shove it down somebody's throat.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, which is perfect because that's what we do with Saki. We just shove it down everyone's throat.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So both my listeners have no idea who Saki is. So I'm just going to give you just the one opportunity, Finn. Just one. Tell me about Saki.
So this is the quick origin story. Saki began when my fiance would be behind us on podcasts and mocking me like, meh, 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 meh. And then she put a sock on her hand, and then it got named Saki, and then she put googly eyes on it, and now it's just our mascot.
Okay.
So John loves it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Adam Jensen. I didn't ask for this.
Well, I was honored to receive a Son of Saki this PAX.
Yes.
I do not have it on me. I obviously should have brought it.
That's fine.
But there is some good PAX material with the Sons of Saki. So if you want to look out for Twitter, that's pretty good. So if you had to pick one thing that was an absolute highlight of your PAX, Finn, I'll start with you.
Okay, I think the highlight might be when it was such a low-key moment, but when we all got dinner that one time, it was you, me, John, JT had just arrived, and we were having dinner with Jackie, Andre, and Britt, and Jason. And it was very relaxed. There was nothing going on, rushing us, and we all just got to sit and talk and just have a great time. And that was like my first time meeting most of them, so it was a really great moment for me, a great PAX moment, and it was just one of those things that resonated really well with me.
Yeah, that's cool. How about you, John?
So, like, I could say any number of things, right? I could say being on a panel. I could say meeting all those amazing people. But honestly, the highlight of PAX for me was when I was walking down the hall, just chilling, walking. I was going somewhere. I can't remember where I was going. And somebody I did not know came up behind me and said, "Hey, are you Mr. Megadeth?" And I was like, I'd never been called that in public before, right? So I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Hey, what's up? And he says, hey, I am a huge fan of yours and your podcast. I love the article you wrote on Polygon.com. I've been following you guys, and I really look up to you. And I just wanted to meet you. And I was like, yeah, man. Hell yeah. Awesome. Thanks, dude. I didn't know what to say, right? And I don't know. That kind of that was on Friday, and that kind of really set the tone for the rest of my day. It's just like, this is, that's all I've really wanted, is to just help to, I don't know, I guess, inspire people to whatever. I still haven't quite figured out what I'm inspiring people to, but yeah, that was a highlight for me, man.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I have a bit of a weird one because when I was on the What's Good Live panel, I got to talk about my origin story, about how I started as like this parody account for game trailers buttons, and how I pissed off Stuttering Greg from Screw Attack, like unknowingly.
I remember that.
And I do the panel, and that night we go to the Mixer party, thanks to the great people from Mixer who took good care of us. And lo and behold, Stuttering Greg is there. Now, I've met him before. Yeah, I met him before. I met him at E3, and the first time I met him, I went up to him and said, Greg, I owe you an apology. And he was like, who are you, first of all? So I told him the story, like it was all a joke and it was a misunderstanding. I'm so sorry that it freaked you out. But I was still a little uneasy because I didn't know he remembered. And then he was talking to Joey Noel, who's also a wonderful person, the community manager at Kind of Funny Games.
She was awesome.
So I didn't want to interrupt, but I was like, okay, I got to go talk to Greg again because I just talked about him like 2 hours ago. So I got to talk to him again. And he's a super nice guy. But there was just, as if it was planned, like I talk about him and how I freaked him out, and then he's there. And I did not see him all of PAX. Like I didn't see him before, I didn't see him after. It was just someone planted him there just to freak me out. But that mixer party was fun, though. That was a good spot.
It was that I actually had. I was nervous about that because of everybody I had heard might be there.
Yeah.
But again, like it's one of those things where the conversation just came really naturally, and like I want to like a special thank you to Andy for helping hook that up. You know, Andy Salisbury is a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's super nice.
He is a super nice guy, and he made that happen. And I could not be more appreciative of that.
That's good. So the couple of highlights, like there's just so many. Like I played Dungeons and Dragons for the first time since I was 12.
I caught a little bit of that, yeah.
And I've always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, but all my friends became cool and I didn't, so I never had anyone to play with. And now it's cool all of a sudden, so that was fun. And again, Dr. B was there, and the What's Good girls, like Dr. B and those three. That's kind of a red thread to my PAX experience for some reason. But that really elevated to a whole new level. So next, I heard that some of you are gonna be at another big show soon.
Yeah, we're actually going to to Colorado. There's the national annual chili competition.
Oh yeah, I think they're
real
great.
Chili cook-off going on.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's really cool, and then we're heading off to the Colorado Rocky Mountain Oyster competition, which is really good too. You know, I don't know if you know what a Rocky Mountain Oyster is.
I'm glad I'm not sharing a hotel room with you after that, though.
A Rocky Mountain Oyster is actually a beer-battled bull testicle that is deep fried.
That's the stuff. Anything
really
special
good.
after that, though?
After that, we're going to hit up a small. It's just a small con. I've never heard. It's called E3 or maybe B3.
Yeah.
E3.
No,
E3. Yeah, no, it's
E3,
E3. E3. That's an E3,
Something
and
like that,
it's in California, and people play computer games
Okay.
at it.
I heard they played the electronic video games like Pong and Tetris.
Yeah, it's something
Yeah,
about
It's gonna be pretty cool.
entertainment.
We're going.
all the old electronic handheld Tiger games. Those are going to be there.
Yes.
No, but Zach and Finn and Jay are going to be there. I will not be there. We'll be streaming it live.
Okay.
But this will be our first year at E3.
So Finn,
it's going to be dope.
you're going to be there in person?
Yes,
Okay.
I will be live on the floor, doing my darndest to not let John down.
That's good luck with that. Because
I am very, very judging.
Yeah, he's a judgmental bastard.
I judge people
His
constantly.
known as Game Dad. Like we've called him Game Dad now. That's just his name.
Which is weird
Don't
because I'm
wanna
like
let down
3
Game
years. I'm like 3 years older than you.
Yeah.
Now three going on 30.
Yeah.
I'm like 3 years older than you, so not Game Dad to maybe Zach and Jay, but that's about it.
But no, it's gonna be fun. I'm very excited. I don't know what to expect. I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna. There might be more Sons of Sakis going out there to all of our peeps. Who knows?
Please no.
See, the judgment is already beginning. Matt Piscatella's
got to get one.
Oh yeah. I saw him pop up. I've been to PAX twice now, and it is a fantastic show. I think you're absolutely gonna love it. But it's bigger, it's noisier, and it's busier than PAX for sure. And it's a different vibe, right? Because it's industry, but now that they let the public in as well, it's gonna be crowded. But you're gonna run into the same kind of people, and you're gonna hang out at the same kind of after parties, which is great. Shout out to Reed because he's a delightful person, and I'm pretty sure he'll take care of you.
Reed is delightful.
Reed is already the MVP of E3.
Yes,
he's the MV3P. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that works somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might work. I know, but that's good. I'm unfortunately not going to be there. It's a little bit too much. I have some other stuff to do in June, but I can't wait to see your coverage of E3.
You're more than welcome to stream it with us, Finn. Or wow, Jesus,
I might. It's gonna be weird to not be there after you've been there twice because you kind of get used to it. I think.
Yeah. Well, there's that feeling of, am I missing out? Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be a huge E3. Yeah.
I'm gonna miss out, like, for sure. I don't think it's gonna be like last year was a bit of a calm E3 when it came to, like, there were no huge announcements last year. Like, that was all the year before and the year before that. This year, I think there might be one or two big things. Next year, I think it's going to be off the hook because I think that's when the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox are going to be launching, or at least being shown for the first time.
I think to next year, yeah.
Yeah, not this year, but E3 2019.
Next year, yeah, I agree.
So I'm gonna do my best to be there then if we're still allowed. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this whole video game industry, like, I hope we're still here in 2 years from now. But
we'll be
sure we'll be here.
Industry's never been stronger than it is right now.
That's right. We definitely have something to add. Any closing thoughts? If you wanna, if people are listening and they want to get one tip of you from, okay, how do I get to PAX? How do I get to E3? What would you say, John?
Be patient. Well, I mean, if you want to get there in the capacity that we've been there, put out good, thoughtful content. Be patient. Try to make friends. I mean, it sounds like the good old boy network, but try to make friends with the right people. Show people that you have something to add to the conversation. Dispense with the unnecessary. Focus on good quality content, good conversations. Be articulate. Know what you're talking about. Be confident in yourself. Yeah. Be confident. If you want to get on a panel, you have to be confident. You've got to project inner strength, and tweet a lot. Tweet a lot. Don't do your, because Twitter is where all these connections are made, right? Like that's where 90% of this stuff is happening. So tweet a lot, tweet at the right people, be witty, make friends, get these people to follow you. Find a way. I did it, and if I can do it, I'm an uninteresting chud. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And try to inspire people, challenge people. Maybe not the way I challenge some people.
That's a unique type of challenge.
I'm outspoken, just be yourself, be loud, be bold. That's the best way I could put it.
How about you, Finn? Other than having a sock puppet friend?
Well, that's a very us thing. Don't steal that. But no, to piggyback what John said, the only thing I'll add to that is, and I think this gets lost in today's ecosystem, is try and be a positive voice. Try and be a voice for good, and be a good person. I know everyone loves being that person with the hot take, but sometimes there's a lot of merit in just being known as a good person that does good work. And I think that it's an underrepresented quality that could be very easily done by a lot more people. It's just as easy to build something up as it is to tear something else down. And if you don't like something, skip that content and focus on something that makes you happy. There's already a billion people out there whose shtick is hating on everything and being angry. Be the opposite of that and find your own niche, because sometimes this industry needs a little more positivity.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, and to piggyback on that, when we were at PAX and when we were hanging out with a lot of people, because we all go to the same places, nobody there was an asshole. Like, the big famous assholes that we know online, they were not there. And they might have had their show, they might have had something else. Like, there were very big YouTubers there who had 3-hour lineups to get an autograph, but they were not hanging out with everybody else. Because everybody there is just a cool person. So don't invest in that. in that snark in that brand, because it might get you popular with like a lot of people online, but it will get you nowhere with the people who actually make this industry a great thing. So I think that's if you combine all these three things, you have a good shot. But dear Lord, you need that one blast of luck just to get noticed.
You do.
Luck is the X factor.
Yeah.
It just sometimes is, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I wish I could tell you how to get that, but like be prepared and come off as strong as you can, and you never know. You might get that shot, and don't get frustrated if you do not get it, because for everyone who does make it there's probably 1,000 that don't. But learn from these people.
That's actually a really good point, is don't go in expecting you deserve success and fame and all of this right off the bat. Like, no, that kind of attitude is the wrong attitude to bring to it.
Yeah.
Do it because you love it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what we're all trying to do here. Like, if everything falls apart tomorrow, I think I had a lot of fun, and then I'll make peace with that. But let's try not to make it fall apart tomorrow, because you guys still got a big show ahead of you, and hopefully we'll get to chat again. It's always a pleasure with you guys. It was great hanging out. I'm gonna give you a round of podcast and shill, where you can shill for something. But since you're both on the same show, it doesn't have to be your show. You can shill for whatever you want. Okay, so Finn, what would you shill for tonight?
I'm at Noel Nerdcast on the Twitter. I'm part of John's great show, the official SDGC.
Our great show, Finn. Our great show.
I'm so sorry. That's what I meant to say. I would also like to pretty much just say, if you ever want to talk games or comics, which I feel is an underrepresented thing in our circle, hit me up. I just love talking to people. I really enjoy the engagement factor. So at Nola Nerdcast, watch our shows, find out why we love Saki so much, and I'll let John pick up the rest.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Megative with an M. Not negative, as is commonly mistaken. You can also find us, Finn and I, and the rest of us, every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on SDGC, which is Super Perform Gamescast. That's on Twitch, twitch.tv/official SDGC. We archive all our podcasts on YouTube, which is youtube.com/superdeformedgamescast. And you can also find us on iTunes and SoundCloud as well. We have several other podcasts called Appeals Court and Pause for Popcorn. Appeals Court deals with convincing somebody on our podcast or somebody outside the podcast to play a game that they might not normally play. And Pause for Popcorn was hosted by Jeff, and it is a movie-themed podcast, as you might have guessed by the name. That usually happens like once a month. Of course, you can also find me on Polygon. I am now a freelancer for Polygon, and I'm currently working on my second article.
Woo! Cool. Well, I am the Hashtagonist on Twitter, where the O is a 0, but you probably know where I am because you're listening to this, so that should be a big deal. Unless you're listening on iTunes, where I am now as well, which is kind of cool. They just didn't tell me I was. And I am going to shill for my good friends over at What's Good Games, because they have made this PAX. They took it to another level by just welcoming us and showing us around and being great friends to not just me, but to you guys as well.
Sure did.
Absolute shout out to the lady over there. They make great content. Go check them out. They are way more famous than we are, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm preaching to the right crowd here, but they absolutely deserve my eternal gratitude and shout outs forever. And that's it for episode 5, because the previous episode didn't really count because I was on vacation. And hopefully I'll be back soon. I'm trying to round up some cool guests, and in 2 weeks I'm gonna have a super special secret episode, but I cannot talk about that yet. But I can tease a little bit. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on the Twitterverse, and have a good night.
Of course.
Thank you, Ed.